I don't know, maybe a half a dozen of us sat in Chris Kraft's office one afternoon, and we went over the flight plan to try to understand what would we do on when we got to on the whole flight. And I've always thought, again, it was an example of NASA's leadership with Kraft and their management style, that we were able to hammer out in one afternoon the basic tenets of the mission. You know, the tracking people wanted us to stay up there a month. I didn't want to stay more than one. It was a give and take, and Kraft called the shots. So we ended up going around 10 times, and I never really thought about, going around behind. You'd lose the radio contact, but that's about all. It was actually the far side was lit because the sun was over there. In order to go 10 revolutions around the moon, we had to launch at a certain time, but the recovery would then be before sunrise. And the recovery people were concerned about that. Some idiot had the idea that on the way to the moon we'd do an EVA. Now, I guess I shouldn't call him an idiot. He was just stupid to continue to put. What do you want to do? What's the main objective? The main objective was to go to the moon, do enough orbits so that they could do the tracking, be the pathfinders for Apollo 11, and get your ass home. Why complicate it with a bunch of other stuff? You had to decide what is the primary objective, and then forget it. But all of this was thoroughly discussed, and then Kraft made the decision. It wasn't a committee. It wasn't it was one man who had the knowledge.
The crew is now set. Borman, Lovell, Anders. The mission is now numbered Apollo 8. Without a lunar module, there is only one engine, the service propulsion system of the CSM spacecraft, available to break out of lunar orbit and return home. Many argue the safer option is to conduct a mission like Zond 5, a circumlunar flyby. Such a trajectory would allow the reaction control system thrusters to serve as a backup, with only very minor trim burns required to bring the crew back home safely. By committing the crew to lunar orbit with the SPS, NASA would be hanging the lives of all 3 astronauts on just one subsystem. One engine that, if a malfunction occurred in lunar orbit, would strand them there forever. But the Apollo SPS engine is a different beast from those that preceded it. Designed from the ground up for redundancy and reliability. Mechanically, it's a very simple engine with few moving parts and opportunities for failure. What ultimately makes it complex is the incredible redundancy built into each component of its design. First, it uses hypergolic propellants, chemicals that, when mixed, automatically react and combust with each other. Aerozine 50, a mixture of hydrazine and unsymmetrical dimethylhydrazine, coming into contact with nitrogen tetroxide. In effect, all that needs to occur is the opening of fuel valves, and the engine is alive. This start-stop architecture incorporates multiple independent flow paths. 8 ball valves arranged in a series parallel scheme. Multiple points at which propellant can be cut off, and no one valve failure can prevent the engine from lighting up. The valves themselves include dual pneumatic control mechanisms with duplicated
Say you get a surf shack on Airbnb. Now you can also get a surf lesson with a pro surfer. Or if you get a place in Mexico City, you can also get a taco tasting with a food critic. Homes, experiences, and services. Now you can Airbnb more than an Airbnb.
Welcome to the first lesson of my Nirvana series. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive into Kurt Cobain's guitar style. We're going to analyse his technique, his gear, and his approach towards guitar and songwriting, so you can get closer to nailing that iconic Nirvana sound. The full playlist is linked in the description, so once you've got the technique down, you can enjoy learning a bunch of fun Nirvana tunes. Now, the first thing I want to do is confront this idea that Kurt Cobain is perhaps not such a good guitar player because his style isn't based on technical accuracy. But really, when you consider the big picture, music and guitar isn't like some sort of competition about who's the fastest or most precise. It can definitely be worth developing those things if you're trying to achieve a sound that requires them, but ultimately being an artist is down to creating music that people can connect with emotionally and really feel something, and it's inarguable that Kurt Cobain did that for millions of people. He was an incredible songwriter and really inventive with the ways that he used guitar sounds as well as chord patterns and riffs to craft songs in unique ways. More often than not, the notes and the chords that he used wouldn't necessarily fit a specific key, and that helped add to the uniqueness of the phrases and melodies constructed around them, because it meant avoiding all the conventional chord progressions and sounds that we're used to hearing time and time again. Instead, Nirvana embraced dissonance and tension to amplify the sense of angst, which really was the core of their music. So, of course, he didn't base his style around technical accuracy. And can you really imagine a super technically proficient guitar player fronting Nirvana? It just wouldn't work, because really the messiness is a big part of the aggression and kind of anti-elitist, anti-perfectionist sentiments that Nirvana's music encapsulated so well. Although on the topic of technical skill, you have to hand it to Kurt that he was pretty ambidextrous in terms of what he could play and sing at the same time. It came pretty natural to him to play a tricky riff while singing a verse over the top and keep the timing of both of them quite solid, even if they're a bit syncopated. For example, the verses of Come As You Are and All Apologies are quite good examples, so it might be that his technical skill is more in that department rather than your typical virtuosic guitar traits. But in terms of actual guitar technique, he definitely had a few quirks in his playing which would influence the sound, so let's take a closer look at those now, so you can choose to implement them into your own playing if you want, just to match the sound with a little bit more accuracy. The first thing I want to talk about here is power chord technique. Now, normally power chords would be played with 3 fingers, so first finger on the bottom string, third finger on A string, little finger on D string, and everything else muted.
2 frets down, finger on.
But Kurt Cobain would play power chords using a bar with the third finger on the higher notes. So here I've got first finger still on the bottom string, but then third finger bar in the A and D strings. Now, there's definitely an efficiency to this. The third finger on the higher notes. So here I've got first finger still on the bottom string, but then third finger bar in the A and D strings. Now, there's definitely an efficiency to this, but probably the reason it's not used as commonly as the 3-finger version is because it's very easy to catch extra strings. So for example, on this E root power chord, if I accidentally catch the G string, actually add in a sus4 to the chord, so this will become a G sus4. Or if I shift it up to an A root chord, like the C power chord, I'd actually get a major third. So there it just becomes a major bar chord. Now, normally this would detriment the sound of a power chord, but because of the nature of Nirvana's music, it actually really benefits the sound and adds a bit more dissonance and edginess. So you might want to try using this bar power chord technique in Nirvana songs. I've been using it while I've been getting used to these songs, and now it feels kind of wrong to play a Nirvana tune without it, so it's definitely something that you can get used to. Now, these extra accidental notes just happen naturally in Kurt's playing, so it's pretty difficult to purposefully replicate accidental notes, and it's very easy to make them sound a bit forced or over the top. So my best advice would be to just aim for the correct strings in the power chord, but hit the strings quite hard with the right hand and see if you can just get it to occasionally happen automatically without really thinking too hard about it. It's also worth noting that Kurt Cobain would sometimes adapt his power chords. For example, if I go back to this C power chord, sometimes he'll do things like just move the first finger to bar the bottom string as well. So you get these root 5 sounds, which are pretty cool. Sometimes you would catch the open strings. So there's examples where you'll play an F sharp power chord, but then catch the open B and E. They're pretty cool sounds as well, so I'll explain all of these little differences in the song lessons, but I want to make a note that if you're really struggling with this barred power chord technique and it's ruining the experience of playing the tunes, just use normal 3-finger power chords for now and enjoy learning the songs and playing along, and you can always adapt to the Kurt style later on if you fancy. As I mentioned before, I've only really got used to this technique for the purpose of this lesson series, and I've been playing Nirvana songs with normal power chords at gigs for years and years, and no one's ever pulled me up on it, so especially if you're just playing at home for fun, use whatever technique you feel most comfortable with. A couple more optional extras. Kurt Cobain would play his D chords using just first and second finger. So first finger would be on the G string, second finger would be on the B string, and this would give you like an open D power chord. However, I also noticed that sometimes he bars with the first finger, catching the top string, and that gives you a D major. Took me a while to figure out that that's what he was doing. Sometimes I was hearing the third, but not sure how he's playing it, but that's what he's doing. And another kind of strange one, when he plays your kind of open G power chord, the 2-finger version of G, sometimes you see him actually playing the root note with the first finger, so it'll come over and looks like second finger just rests on the A string to keep it muted. So it's just a habit he's picked up, but of course you can just play that open G power chord how you normally would if you want to. Obviously, I'll mention any other specific things like these which I come across in the song lessons. Another thing I want to quickly mention is tuning. So some of their songs are in just E standard, some of them are tuned down a tone to D standard. Some of the ones off In Utero, for example, Heart-Shaped Box, are actually in drop C sharp, which is the same as drop D, but every string 1 semitone lower. When they play live, often they just play an E flat tuning, regardless of whether the original was in E standard or D standard. So that might just be to save having to tune or swap guitars for different songs and kind of keep the flow of the gig going. Might have also enabled Kurt to push his voice a little bit more live. So yeah, just make sure that you're in the right tuning for whatever version you're playing along with. And I just want to end this section by making the point that the most important aspect of Kurt's technique was the aggression that he played the guitar with, and the ability to hit the strings in a way so that it sounds angry. It just doesn't sound right playing these songs in a way that's too clean. So you have to go through the process of actually learning all the parts to the tunes, but you also have to work on playing them in a way that really brings out that aggression by hitting the strings hard and basically letting go of the control that you normally work so hard to hold on to when you're playing an instrument. So bear that in mind and just sticking on the
With USAA Safe Pilot, I can save when I road trip safely.
Or with USAA Safe Pilot Miles, I can save when I staycation.
All right, cool. Good to go. We're filming live on the set, recording. How's it going, you guys? This is Cooper Greenberg with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. The point of this video today is to talk a little about the Stratocaster and the tonal capabilities of the pickups in the Stratocaster. Maybe you already have one of these. Maybe you're looking to get an electric guitar and kind of figure out what's up with the Fender tone. And so the whole point is I'm just going to go through the pickup selections and talk a little bit about how they can work for different genres and see some of the tonal nuances. Today I'm playing a Vintera Stratocaster. It's the modified 60s model, going through a Mogami cable into this Hot Rod Deluxe. And EQ-wise, I kind of got treble, bass, and middle at about 12 o'clock with a little bit of reverb just to get a very quintessential Fender tone and keep it clean so you can
What's up everyone, Mike here from The Art of Guitar. Today I want to show you a guitar lesson, an introductory guitar lesson that I used to do back in the old days when I taught 60 students a week. And for a while I was feeling very fortunate because I had so many students, and I thought it'd probably be kind of cool to offer one free lesson a week to just some random student. And if they sign up or not, it didn't really matter to me because I was pretty full anyway. But I realized that with this particular lesson sequence, so many people learned so much in the first lesson that they always wanted to sign up. I had about a 99% return rate, which is really cool. So what I want to do is I want to show you what that lesson is. And if you're teaching guitar, this can help you maybe show you what to teach on the first lesson. At least what I do. And then if you're a student, you can, and you're just starting out, you could just learn the lesson for free right here. Okay, I always want to make sure you're sitting up straight. A lot of people hold the guitar, in the beginning, and they sort of slouch back like that. So just make sure the guitar is sitting on your lap. And I prefer to put it, if you're right-handed, on my right leg, like this. Some people you'll see do this. This is more of a classical way to hold the guitar. Some shredders do this as well. It's a good idea, but I prefer you do this, that when you stand up and play, it'll pretty much be in the same spot, okay? As far as just holding onto the guitar, what I like to do is I like to take my forearm and sort of rest it on the body, and it balances itself if you do that most of the time. And then as far as just the fretting hand, what I always tell people to do is to, right now, for the most part, keep your thumb behind the neck. So it's going to be more like this. And there's a line on the back of my guitar that's helpful. But I just want your fingers to be very free when we do our first little exercise, okay? Later on, the thumb can come over the top. That does happen. But for today, try to keep it in the back for the most part, okay? And then as far as holding the pick, this is all pretty quick. I go more into detail on the website, but I'm just going to go through it a little bit quicker today. I want this to fit in the half-hour lesson time. Okay, so if you take up your guitar pick and hold it at the nose like that, and then your other hand makes sort of the OK sign with your hand like this, go like that with your first finger and put it over your thumb, and then stick the pick inside like this. This is what I like to do. You might think, well, the pick's sticking out like sideways, right? But when you point it towards you like this, suddenly the pick, the nose of it's pointing right at the guitar. Some people think you're supposed to have the pick pointing along with where your thumb's pointing. But then, if you bring it to the guitar, you have to do this to make it work, which doesn't make sense. So make sure the nose of the pick is pointing towards you, and you've got this sort of thing going on. You can curl you can kind of make a fist, don't really clench like that. I sort of leave my fingers dangling like that. Okay, then what you want to do is you just want to start to strum the strings a little bit. Just get a feel for that. What I tell people is to take your wrist and rotate it like that, kind of like you're, doing this with your hand, versus your whole arm moving like that. You don't want to be this person. Okay, it's a hard habit to break, so you don't want to start it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take the pick and let it fall down through the strings like this.
So you want to play guitar, but you think to yourself, I could never do that. And you think learning is boring and dry. Here's the deal, it doesn't have to be. I'm Anders Moritzen, and I absolutely love playing guitar, and I've been doing it since I was a little kid in Denmark. For over 15 years, I've performed and recorded with a bunch of amazing artists like Cam, Pink, John Fogerty, Taylor Swift, and many others. I've toured the world, played in arenas, TV shows, and recorded in major studios in LA and Nashville. And that's all to say that as a working guitarist, I know what's important and what's not. And now you can learn those things from me with my new Guitar Fundamentals course on guitartricks.com. Guitar is the coolest instrument, and it always will be. You don't need to know a lot to get really far. Whether this is the first time you've picked up a guitar or you've played before, you're going to have a ton of fun in this course. With guitar, the sky is the limit. You can play so many styles of music: country, rock, blues, hip-hop, funk, classical, jazz. You can make guitar sound like anything with pedals and amps. I'm sure you've seen that other courses emphasize a lot of discipline, technique, and music theory, and you're left wondering when you actually get to the fun stuff. Guitar is an instrument for everyone, and you can play real music almost right away. You don't need to be a professional or a born artist, and you don't need to study for years in order to experience this joy. Instead of the traditional conservatory methods, I've come up with a course that's built around being fun and motivating. Rather than drilling one exercise after another, we're going to do exactly what your favorite artists and songwriters throughout history have done: make music. So check it out. I'll teach you the basics: tuning, fretting notes, strumming, chords, melodies, but we're going to do it playing super easy songs that I've written. And I promise you'll be having fun and making progress right away. And here's the secret: the most useful parts of theory and technique will be carefully worked into the music that we're already making. Guitar Fundamentals Level 1 and 2 combined have over 300 videos, and it's full of complete tablature and backing tracks. It has everything you need to get started on the guitar. So, you ready to make some noise? Sign up for a Guitar Tricks membership today to get started. We've taught over 3 million people, and we want to teach you next.
Your small business taxes handled. All your unique deductions found. Keep more money in your business and take taxes off your plate with TurboTax Expert Full Service Business.
Okay, so some people ask if you should go up at this point. You can, but it's a little bit tricky because the pick might feel like it's getting stuck, okay? So what I like to do is if I do an upstroke, I do like a sweeping motion where I tilt the pick slightly so that it'll come up the strings in a good way. Okay, if you don't tilt the pick, you can easily get stuck in the strings. You notice you could do that without even using your fretting hand yet, your left hand if you're right-handed. Just the forearms holding the guitar in place, and you're strumming through. Some guitars are so well balanced, like mine's pretty good. You could just take your forearm off and still do it. But there are a lot of guitars, especially if you put the tuner at the top, where it starts to dip down. Okay, so you might be wondering, you're holding the guitar, you're strumming, you kind of know how to have your left hand a little bit, you know, the thumb in the back. Shouldn't you tune your guitar first? A lot of people ask that. But in the first lesson, I don't like to spend a lot of time tuning, because if you spend all that time teaching the student how to tune, the whole lesson's done by the time you're done. You know what I mean? If you're explaining each string and then how to bring it up higher or lower and what to do, and then their first lesson they go, I didn't really go home with much, you know, or at least it's going to seem that way. So I usually tune their guitar for them, and since I'm not physically there to tune your guitar for you like I would do at a real lesson, this is the hardest part of trying to teach online, is I don't know what your guitar sounds like, so it could be way out of tune. What I recommend is either bring it to another guitar player who knows how to tune, or a guitar store, and just have them tune it. Now, it probably will go out of tune a little bit, but at least you'll be in the ballpark. You know what I'll actually do for you guys too, is on the Art of Guitar website, I'll make that one lesson open to the public, so that if you want to go look for it, it'll be called Tuning with an Electronic Tuner, and you could do it from there. Teaching you how to tune using the 5th fret method takes a lot longer, and there's way more involved with it, so we'll skip that for now. But if you want to do the electronic tuner lesson on the website for free, go right ahead. The string names are important to know right away, because I'm going to be referring to them today. So I like to say E, A, D, G, B, E. I go in that order, so I go from the thickest string to the skinniest. And then I say, to remember it, a lot of people think Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. And because it's a mnemonic device, they call that, it's really easy to remember, because you just remember that little saying, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. And you're good. You've learned the names of the strings. You know there's 6 of them now. And you know how to hold your pick, how to strum a little bit, and how to sit. Your posture should be like this, okay? If you start to slouch, remember, You don't want to set that in motion right away. You want to sort of sit up straight so that when you play live, you're not like this, okay? Plus it's easier on your back. Okay, I like to jump right in and have the student just start playing notes, all right? I don't mess around. I don't sit there and try to teach them how to read music right away. Obviously, I didn't teach how to tune right away, so we're getting right into playing. And then you really start to feel what it's like to actually play the guitar, and you get more excited about it. All right, so let's do this. When I say the first string on the guitar, I'm talking about the skinniest string. So I want you to take your pick and just pluck the first string. Okay, if you remember our little saying, that's Eddie, so it's going to be E. That is the E note. Okay. So what I want you to do is practice just picking downstrokes on that one string. So go like this. So you can also do this without your fretting hand. You just do this. You might think, well, the pick's sticking out like sideways, right? But when you point it towards you like this, suddenly the pick, the nose of it's pointing right at the guitar. Some people think you're supposed to have the pick pointing along with where your thumb's pointing. But then if you bring it to the guitar, you have to do this to make it work, which doesn't make sense. So make sure the nose of the pick is pointing towards you. You have to do pointing right at the guitar. Some people think you're supposed to have the pick, and there's a line on the back of my guitar that's helpful, but I just want your fingers to be very free when we do our first little exercise, okay? Later on, the thumb can come over the top. That does happen, but for today, try to keep it in the back for the most part, okay? And then as far as holding the pick, this is all pretty quick. I go more into detail on the website, but I'm just going to go through it a little bit quicker today. I want this to fit in the half-hour lesson time. Okay, so if you take up your guitar pick and hold it at the nose like that, and then your other hand makes sort of the OK sign with your hand like this. Go like that with your first finger and put it over your thumb, and then stick the pick inside like this. This is what I like to do. You might think, well, the pick's sticking out like sideways, right? But when you point it towards you like this, suddenly the pick, the nose of it's pointing right at the guitar. Some people think you're supposed to have the pick inside like this. This is what I like to do. You might think, well, the pick's sticking out like sideways, right? But when you point it towards you like this, suddenly the pick, the nose of it's pointing right at the guitar. Some people think you're supposed to have the pick pointing along with where your thumb's pointing. But then if you bring it to the guitar, you have to do this to make it work, which doesn't make sense. So make sure the nose of the pick is pointing towards you, and you've got this sort of thing going on. You can curl you can kind of make a fist, don't really clench like that. I sort of leave my fingers dangling like that. Okay, then what you want to do is you just want to start to strum the strings a little bit. Just get a feel for that. What I tell people is to take your wrist and rotate it like that. Kind of like you're, I sort of leave my fingers dangling like that. Okay, then what you want to do is you just want to start to strum the strings a little bit. Just get a feel for that. What I tell people is to take your wrist and rotate it like that. Kind of like you're, doing this with your hand versus your whole arm moving like that. You don't want to be this person. Okay, it's a hard habit to break, so you don't want to start it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take the pick and let it fall down through the strings like this. Okay, so some people ask if you should go up at this point. You can, but it's a little bit tricky because the pick might feel like it's getting stuck, okay? So what I like to do is if I do an upstroke, I do like a sweeping motion where I tilt the pick slightly so that it'll come up the strings in a good way. Okay, if you don't tilt the pick, you can easily get stuck in the strings. You notice you could do that without even using your fretting hand yet, your left hand if you're right-handed. Just the forearms holding the guitar in place, and you're strumming through. Some guitars are so well balanced, like mine's pretty good. You could just take your forearm off and still do it. But there are a lot of guitars, especially if you put the tuner at the top, where it starts to dip down. Okay, so you might be wondering, you're holding the guitar, you're strumming, you kind of know how to have your left hand a little bit, you know, the thumb in the back. Shouldn't you tune your guitar first? A lot of people ask that. But in the first lesson, I don't like to spend a lot of time tuning, because if you spend all that time teaching the student how to tune, the whole lesson's done by the time you're done. You know what I mean? If you're explaining each string and then how to bring it up higher or lower and what to do, and then their first lesson they go, I didn't really go home with much, you know, or at least it's going to seem that way. So I usually tune their guitar for them, and since I'm not physically there to tune your guitar for you like I would do at a real lesson, this is the hardest part of trying to teach online, is I don't know what your guitar sounds like, so it could be way out of tune. What I recommend is either bring it to another guitar player who knows how to tune, or a guitar store, and just have them tune it. Now, it probably will go out of tune a little bit, but at least you'll be in the ballpark. You know what I'll actually do for you guys too, is on the Art of Guitar website, I'll make that one lesson open to the public, so that if you want to go look for it, it'll be called Tuning with an Electronic Tuner, and you could do it from there. Teaching you how to tune using the 5th fret method takes a lot longer, and there's way more involved with it, so we'll skip that for now. But if you want to do the electronic tuner lesson on the website for free, go right ahead. The string names are important to know right away, because I'm going to be referring to them today. So I like to say E, A, D, G, B, E. I go in that order, so I go from the thickest string to the skinniest. And then I say, to remember it, a lot of people think Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. And because it's a mnemonic device, they call that, it's really easy to remember, because you just remember that little saying, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. And you're good. You've learned the names of the strings. You know there's 6 of them now. And you know how to hold your pick, how to strum a little bit, and how to sit. Your posture should be like this, okay? If you start to slouch, remember, you don't want to set that in motion right away. You want to sort of sit up straight, so that when you play live, you're not like this, okay? Plus, it's easier on your back. Okay, I like to jump right in and have the student just start playing notes, all right? I don't mess around. I don't sit there and try to teach them how to read music right away. Obviously, I didn't teach how to tune right away, so we're getting right into playing. And then you really start to feel what it's like to actually play the guitar, and you get more excited about it. All right, so let's do this. When I say the first string on the guitar, I'm talking about the skinniest string. So I want you to take your pick and just pluck the first string. Okay, if you remember our little saying, that's Eddie, so it's going to be E. That is the E note. Okay, so what I want you to do is practice just picking downstrokes on that one string. So go like this. So you can also do this without your fretting hand. You just do this for a while. Get used to the feel of plucking a string. Okay, now our fretting hand's getting a little restless. We got to get it into the party a little bit. Let's go ahead and we're going to count up these strange looking boxes, okay? These are called frets on the guitar, these metal bars. But today, to make it simple, I'm going to refer to each of these boxes as frets, and we're going to count up a certain amount, all right? So if you start counting, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, all the way up to my guitar goes to 22. So what I want you to do is I want you to count up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the skinny string, okay? And all I want you to do is place your pointer finger, your index finger, in that box on the skinny string. And what we're going to do is we're going to push down a little bit until the string touches the metal bar that's right here. That's all it takes to make a note, actually. So there's a couple quick little tips here. Be sure to use your fingertip. Speaking of tips, press down, or it's called fretting, right behind the metal bar, right behind the fret, okay? Not on the metal bar, not in the middle of the box, but right here. This is the best spot right here. And then use just enough pressure to make that happen, all right? Now, hold that down, take your pick, and just pluck that note. All right, hopefully you hear a difference from when you played an open string. Let's try an open string once. Now let's go back to pressing down. I kind of hate to say that. Fretting the 5th fret of the first string. Hear the difference?
I'm so sick of online guitar learning ads like this.
We are the best online guitar learning platform with over 10,000 lessons. That way you'll never know what to play next.
So if you're sick of the hype and the gimmicks, here's an ad I made for you. If you're an older adult wanting to learn guitar, I have a question for you. What's the difference between a guitar beginner who bought their first guitar years ago but never got past learning their first few chords versus someone who can play music within a few weeks of starting and experience the thrill of watching their family and friends' jaws drop at just how far they've come in such a short amount of time? It's not hours of daily practice. It's not superhuman discipline. It's also not intelligence, long fingers, or natural-born musical talent. After teaching.
Okay, so now we're going to do that picking thing we did earlier with the open string with this note fretted. So just play it 4 times with me. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now don't push super hard, otherwise your finger's going to hurt. You're going to have this huge line on your finger and it's just not going to feel good, all right? And it's not going to sound the best. So really just use enough pressure to make it happen. You'll know if it's too little pressure. Too much, you'll just start to feel that pain a little bit and you'll push the string out of tune eventually, all right? Now don't lift off your finger. I don't want you guys to go like this when you go to the next note. Instead, what I want you to do is keep that there as an anchor. So you sort of have your hand anchored right here. Take your middle finger and place it on the fret next to it, so the 6th fret. We're still on the skinny string, the 1st string, okay? So now we have the 5th fret and the 6th fret pushed down, and really only the 6th fret's going to make a noise. So it's whatever finger is closest to your pick, it's going to affect the sound. So let's go ahead and play that note now. So take your pick and pluck it. By the way, you might notice when I'm holding my pick, I'm not holding it so close to the nose of it that I can't get the pick to hold the string. And this is more common, I'm not holding it so far away that it feels like the pick's gonna fall out of my hand. That's a terrible feeling. It's just kind of in the middle, if not more towards the nose, but I still have enough to make the note happen without it feeling like it's flopping all over the place, okay? So let's do 4 of the 6th fret note, okay? Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we can do this fun little game. We go back to the 1st finger 4 times. On the 5th fret, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the middle finger back down 4 times. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you could probably guess what's next. The ring finger. Now, an important thing is to keep these fingers curved because you really want your fingertips to be doing most of the work. Okay, if you're flat, it's not good. You want to keep them curved as much as possible. If your hand starts to hurt, make sure you sort of relax it. You can always do hand stretches, which we go into deeply on the website, finger yoga I call it. But for today, you should be okay. We're not going to do too much. All right, now we're going to have the ring finger, the 3rd finger, still on the skinniest string, okay? But this time on the 7th fret. So we have 5, 6, 7 right in a row. Let's play that 4 times. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just to speed things up, the next one, of course, is going to be the pinky. The pinky's going to feel the weakest, so give it some time to develop. Let's do that one 4 times. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're starting a warm-up exercise without even knowing it. It's called the spider exercise. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 finger-wise, but we're going to play each of them 4 times each. Okay? Let's start from the beginning. 1st finger, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place your 2nd finger down next to it, go. 3rd finger, pinky. A lot of people think you should go backwards at first. I wouldn't do that until maybe later lessons. We do more expanded spider exercise on the website, but not today. What I want you to do instead is once you can do that, move to the 2nd string and do the exact same thing. So I'm going to speed it up. You don't have to. Then, of course, the 3rd string. See, everything sequences. Now, if you want to stop at the 3rd string, that's totally fine. Going to the 4th, 5th, and 6th strings can be a little bit tough on the wrist at first because you're not used to this feeling. So I want you to relax before your wrist starts to hurt a little bit. You don't want that happening. You don't want wrist pain right off the bat. Okay, so the least that you should be able to do after the first lesson is at least the first string, all 4 fingers, just get a sound out of each one. If you can get a good sound out of the first one, do 4 times on each of them. That's huge, okay? Your eventual goal is to go across all 6 strings, doing 4 of each, and then eventually we'll do 2 of each and 1 of each. But for today, stick to 4, it's totally fine. Some people ask, can I do upstrokes when I do that? I wouldn't recommend it right away. You don't want to go like this right away. Okay, because you're not really able to do upstrokes as well as you could do downstrokes, and the downstrokes are more important at this stage, at this level. So in later lessons, we definitely will do upstrokes. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to jump right into some chord shapes, because once you could play a couple chord shapes, you feel like you're already playing songs. That's a great thing, to already feel like you're doing stuff with a guitar. So what I want you to do now, we have the fingers warmed up a little bit. We used all 4 of them, so we should be able to make a few easy chords. I say easy, but they can be challenging at first. What I want you to do right now is to find the 3rd string. So remember, we start at the skinniest string, 1, 2, 3. This string is called G. Okay, so what you need to do is take your index finger, and we're going to place it on the 3rd string, but the 1st fret.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
Right here. If you want to, you could take your pick and just pluck the 3rd string, make sure it's making a sound. Okay, sounds good. If it sounds like this, you're not pressing enough. So give it just enough pressure, all right? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to try something just for fun, just to hear some notes playing at the same time. That's what a chord is. We're going to play the 3rd string, the 2nd string, and the 1st string all at the same time. So watch my picking hand here. I'm going to start at the 3rd string and just brush across the strings. We're making an E major chord right now. This is just a baby version of it, even though it does contain all the notes of the full chord, but we're going to double up some of the notes and make it sound really huge, okay? But it can be a little tricky to get the fingers to follow our orders at first. So this one should be good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ring finger, our 3rd finger here, and we're going to place it on the 4th string, 2nd fret, like this. So right away, that's kind of weird. So let's get the other finger in there now just to complete it. Take your middle finger and place it on the 5th string, 2nd fret. So you end up with this kind of shape right here. It's not really an obvious shape like a straight line or anything like that, but you'll just grow to remember that as an E shape. Now, if you can make this shape, what I want you to do is I want you to take your pick, go to the fattest string on your guitar, the 6th string, and just sweep all the way across. Isn't that a great sound? Big sound. Okay, so instead of just doing the little 3-string version of it, we're doing the 6-string version of the E major chord. Now, some people have trouble fretting it the way we did in that order. So if you did have a little trouble, do it the opposite way, okay? So let's take our middle finger. This is the same chord, by the way. And let's go to the 5th string, 2nd fret. We'll do that first. Now take your ring finger and tuck it underneath that finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. So this is a little bit more stable feeling. All right, now we can take our 1st finger and place it on the 3rd string, 1st fret. Okay, let's strum through it. Now we have the same chord. Sounds great. Now, the reason I choose this chord out of all of them is because all your fingers are in a little section here, so you don't have to spread them out at all and do anything strange with them right away. And at the very minimum, you could still do just the baby chord and be fine. So it's a good chord to do the small version of if you want to. But I recommend if you're, comfortable with the guitar, at least with the spider exercise feeling, you should be able to have the dexterity to play this chord. Keep working on it until it feels comfortable. Same rules apply, by the way, that they did for the individual notes. You want to keep your fingers curved and use your fingertips. Otherwise, if you flatten them out, you end up touching the other strings and you get like a muted sound. So if you get that, make sure you really use your fingertips. And then try it again. Get them out of the way of the open strings. All right. So now's a good time to just practice a 4 downstroke strum. Everything's so basic today, I know, but it's supposed to be. We're going to build up very soon. All right, let's take the picking hand and let's strum through all 6 strings. Pretend it's one big string. We're going to do this 4 times. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So that's the beginning, all right? There are a couple other strums we're going to do. Actually, we'll do one more today, just so you have 2 options. The other one is almost as easy, except we're going to actually throw in an upstroke, because a lot of people get kind of restless. They want to go the other direction. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do downstroke, downstroke, and then we're going to go down, and then an up, and then a down. So think down, 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 up, down. And your picking hand will follow. Ready, go. Down, 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 up, down. Again, down, 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 up, down. The next thing we're going to do is I want to give you a couple chords to work on, just so you can switch back and forth. One chord is great to work on, if you're really trying to master just one chord, stick with E for as long as you need to. But if you feel like you have it down, I want you to switch to another chord. So here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to make a chord that's very similar to this. It's really close by. So watch what we do. We take our index.
Maya, I can drop you off in 5 minutes.
limit, I'm past that, now past that. Award not 1 but 4 times 2 plus yours.
I see myself performing at sold out shows where the room is packed. Sitting at the Grammys winning 5 awards. See myself on big billboards.
Sometimes I wonder why I spend the lonely night dreaming of a song. The melody haunts my reverie, and I am once again with you. When our love was new, and each kiss an inspiration. But that was long ago, and now my constellation is in stardust of a song. Beside the garden wall, when stars are bright, you are in my arms. The nightingale tells his fairy tale of paradise where roses grew. And though I dreamed in vain, in my heart there always will remain my stardust melody, the memory of love's refrain. Though I dream in vain, in my heart there always will remain my stardust melody, the memory of love's refrain. And though I dream in vain, in my heart there always will remain my stardust melody, the memory of love's refrain.
see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Say goodnight and go. Skipping beats, flashing cheeks, I'm struggling. Daydreaming, it seems in the corner cafe. And the left in bits, recovering tectonic, trembling. You get me every time. Why'd you have to be so cute? It's impossible to ignore you. Must you make me laugh so much? It's bad enough we get along so well. Say goodnight and go. Follow you home, you got your headphones on and you're dancing. Got a lucky, beautiful shot, you're taking everything off. Watch the curtains wide open, and you fall in the same routine, flicking through the TV, relaxed and reclining. And you think you're alone. Oh, why'd you have to be so cute? It's impossible to ignore you. Must you make me laugh so much? It's bad enough we get along so well. Say goodnight and go. One of these days, I'll miss your train and come stay with me. It's always say goodnight and go. We'll have have to be so cute. It's impossible to ignore you. Must you make me laugh so much? It's better if we get along so well. Say goodnight and go. Why is it always goodnight and go?
Kanye, it's Fox, man. I'm just saying. I was talking to the girls, you know, and we don't put enough emphasis on the ladies sometimes. You know, I was talking to this girl. She was talking about the music, all fast in the club. You know, she got to drink water because she's thirsty. She done danced like 9,200 songs back to back. But ain't nobody, you know, really try to find out what she feeling, like how she feel. You know what she told me?
Are you gone?
She told me. Check it out. This is what she said. She said, oh. She said she wants some more than you. Some Luther Vandross, a little Anita, but definitely set this party alright. She said she wants them ready for the world with some new additions, some many repetitions, definitely set this party alright.
Yes, we will. It definitely will. No, I told her to drop over in your new whip. Bring some friends you cool with. I'ma bring the cool whip. Then I want you to strip. See, you is my new chick, so we get our grind on. She be grabbing, calling me Biggie like Shine Home. Man, I swear she fine home. Why she always lying on? Telling me them diamonds when she know they dying. She got a light-skinned friend, look like Michael Jackson. Got a dark-skinned friend, look like Michael Jackson. I play ready for the world, she was ready for some action. My dog said you ain't no freak, so you got to prove my man wrong. I'ma play this Vandross, you gon' take your pants off. I'ma play this Gladys night, me and you gon' get right.
All the way, some Luther Vandross, a little Anita, but definitely set this party alright. She said she wants them ready for the world with some new additions, some many repetitions, definitely set this party alright. Yes, she will. Yes, she will. Smokey Robinson, Smokey Robinson, Freddie Jackson, everything. Smokey Robinson, ashes and Simpson, set the party, really set the party alright. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Al Green, Al Green, oh yeah. But you know,
told you to slow it down, baby. It's good, so it's beautiful, but now I need you to do it faster, baby. Can you please do it faster, baby? Do it faster.
Damn, baby, I can't do it that fast, but I know somebody who can. Look at you looking at the glitz on my hands and wrists. When I'm laying back and smoking on my cannabis. When it come to rocking the rhythm like Marvin and Luther, I can tell you ain't no messing with Kyle, man. The twist when I shot and I be sipping Hennessy. Cause I'm R&B while I smoke a beat. You can pick with me, put it on the G. And now come with me and sip on some Evelyn champagne. You ain't no two sticker rockin' like the whispers. Hit the stoplight, give it to some eyes. These rims still moving, so I pop a little spinners while I'm smoking on the beat. Dipping through the streets, popping up a beat, and I got the heat on the 23. And I do it with my earth in the wind, smoke a fire. Let me get your sheets wet, listening to keep sweat. Put you in the days remains, fulfilling out with every temptation. Slow jamming, have a deep set. You ready for the world, girl? Come and go with me. I touch you all over your body, baby. Don't say no to me. And every note to be controlling me. I'm loving the way you be holding me when I be listening and y'all to see. And when I come over and bend your ass, you be bumping to the pentagram. I done hit it from the back to the melody and roll it slow. Now I gotta go up in it fast, but I'ma finish last. No matter how much of a thug you see, I still spitting like a sovereign beat. Come to the club with me, and when some music come on, I hope you feeling me instead of being in love with me. Shine on.
Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely place. Plenty of room at the Hotel California. Any time of year, you can find it here. Her mind is Tiffany twisted. She got the Mercedes Benz. She got a lot of pretty, pretty boys. She calls friends. How they dance in the courtyard. Sweet summer sweat. Some dance to remember. Some dance to forget. So I called up the captain. Please bring me my wine. He said, we haven't had that spirit here since 1969. And still those voices are calling from far away. Wake you up in the middle of the night just to hear them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely place. They're living it up at the Hotel California. What a nice surprise, what a nice surprise. Bring your alibis. Mirrors on the ceiling, they pink champagne on ice. And she said, we are all just prisoners here of our own device. And in the master's chambers, they're gathered for the feast. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find a passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the nightman, we are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
leo hano ko inoa kuhome 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 o ke o kaulana o ke o ka leo hano o ka leo hano o inoa ku aia ku kulahiri ahuli i ke kai kaulana o ke o ka aloha au ia mauna kea I ke anu o ke ahi ahi ho'olono 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 I ka leo hamakani ke o kahano e ka oi Aloha au ia mauna kea I ke anu o ke ahi ahi ho'olono 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 I ka leo hamakani ke o kahano e ka oi e ka oi Aloha, Hawaii.
code.
Nigga dead. I slapped my girl, she called the feds. I did that time and spent that bread. I'm headed home, I'm almost there. I'm on my way, headed up the stairs. To my surprise, a nigga replacing me. I had to take him to that ghetto university. Lights, cop lights, flashlights, spotlights, strobe lights, street lights. All of the lights, all of the lights. Fast life, drug life, thug life, rock life, every night. All of the lights, in here, baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see this. Turn up the lights in here, baby. You know what I need, want you to see everything, want you to see all of the lights. Restraining order, can't see my daughter. Her mother, brother, grandmother hate me in that order. Public visitation, we met at borders. Told her she'd take me back, I'll be more supportive. I made mistakes, I bumped my head. In court sucked me dry, I spent that bread. She need a daddy, baby please. Can't let her grow up in that ghetto university. Lights, cop lights, flashlights, spotlights, strobe lights, street lights. All of the lights, all of the lights. Fast life, drug life, thug life, rock life, every night. All of the lights in here, baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see this. Turn up the lights in here, baby. You know what I need, want you to see everything, want you to see all of the lights.
Get in mind, baby. Gotta let these niggas live. Yeah. Get it right, baby. You should go and get your own. Get in mind, baby. Gotta let these niggas live. Yeah. Get it right, baby. You should go and get your own.
Unemployment line, credit card decline. Did I not mention I was about to lose my mind? And also was about to do that line. Okay, you know we're going all the way this time. 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 We're going all the way this time.
Turn up the lights in here, baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see this. Turn up the lights in here, baby. You know what I need, want you to see everything, want you to